When you're setting up a global holding or estate structure, you need something reliable, respected, and accepted by the banks. That's why more families and entrepreneurs are choosing DIFC foundations. It's a smart way to protect and manage your assets long term while following the rules. Unlike offshore structures designed to hide assets, a DIFC foundation is built for transparency, security, and global access. If you have looked at places like Singapore, Liechtenstein, or Cook Islands, it's worth understanding how DIFC option compares. In this video, I will guide you through the setup process step by step and explain why this structure works so well for families and founders who think long term. Before we start, my name is Shiraz Wahid and I'm the co-founder at Leopardus Wealth, where we have helped many of our clients and families with trust, foundation, and other asset protection strategies in Dubai. If you would like my help in doing the same, you can apply for a free and customized asset protection plan by clicking the link in the description below. At its core, DIFC Foundation is a legal entity governed by its own law. It's established within Dubai International Financial Center, which is a common law jurisdiction inside the UAE, and it is completely distinct from mainland Dubai. That means you're operating in a legal ecosystem designed to support cross-border investment, wealth planning, and institutional-grade governance. The first step in setting up your foundation is defining the purpose. This is not just a formality, it sets the tone for your entire structure. Are you building an intergenerational family holding? Or are you ring fencing IP for licensing? Or are you pre-structuring an eventual exit or a liquidity event? Each of these use cases has implications for governance, succession, and tax alignment. DIFC foundations are flexible, but clarity of purpose is essential. The purpose will also influence the nature of assets you will place under the foundation, how distributions are made, and whether regulatory approvals are needed in other jurisdictions. For example, holding regulated entities or subsidiaries may require additional filings, whereas holding a portfolio of passive investments or shares in family business is more straightforward. If the foundation is used for more philanthropic purposes, it may also qualify for tax relief or registration with global institutions. The planning begins with clarity of intent. Once your objective is clear, you move into structuring the foundation. This involves preparing two primary documents, the charter and the bylaws. The charter is a public-facing document filed with the DIFC registrar. It outlines the foundation's name, duration, which can be perpetual, initial endowment, and general objectives. The bylaws are private and can be as detailed as needed. They contain your governance mechanics, distribution logic, control threshold, veto rights, and decision-making protocols. Many families model their bylaws on corporate board governance, incorporated committees, quorum rules, and reporting obligations. The bylaws are flexible and can be tailored to suit your needs. You can set up tiered decision-making structures, confidential beneficiary register, voting protocol, and provision for deadlock resolution. You can even create emergency override provisions in case of death, incapacity, or disputes between council members. For families that already use family charter or private constitutions, these can be formally integrated into the bylaws. Next, you appoint the foundation council. This can be a single person, a group of individuals, or a corporate entity. The council does not hold ownership. It acts more like a board of governors. In sophisticated setups, a mix of family members and professionals is used, with certain powers reserved for either party. That brings us to the guardian, an optional but powerful safeguard. The guardian monitors the council and can be granted intervention rights. In many families, this role is filled by a trusted family advisor, legal counsel, or even an institutional fiduciary. Guardianship is particularly useful in multi-generational setups. You might allow the founder to retain control during their lifetime, but shift oversight to guardian once the next generation steps in. Guardians can also have limited veto rights, for instance, over asset sales, strategic distribution, or changes to the bylaws. In some structures, especially those with philanthropic mission, independent guardians ensure that intentions aren't diluted over time. One more key area is control. Unlike a trust where the sector must surrender control, a foundation allows for tailored involvement. You can build in layers of checks, for example, requiring unanimous council consent for key asset dispositions, or guardian's pre-approval for distributions exceeding a certain threshold. You can even define succession planning rules: who joins the council, when and under what conditions, and with what limits. You can also create hybrid models, such as setting up a holding company wholly owned by a foundation, with the family continuing to run the operating entities beneath it. This adds an extra layer of legal separation and risk isolation, which is especially valuable for litigation shielding or regulatory compartmentalization. The foundation essentially becomes a firewall between your wealth and external threats. Your registered agent, a DIFC licensed corporate service provider such as we at Lepidus Wealth, handles the actual filing. This includes uploading the document to the DIFC portal, submitting KYC documents for all parties, and certifying the initial endowment has been made, even if it's nominal. KYC requirements typically include notarized passport copies, proof of address, professional CVs for council members, and a detailed explanation of source of wealth and funds. Additional filings may be needed depending on the jurisdictions connected to the council, guardian, or beneficiaries. For example, if a council member is based in the EU or UK, AML regulations there may trigger further reviews. Reputable service providers will pre-vet your documentation and advise if local tax or reporting advice is needed in parallel. The DIFC registrar is known for responsive and thorough processing. Expect a processing time of 2 to 5 working days, provided your documentation is clean. If there are red flags or gaps in KYC narrative, questions will be raised. This is not a rubber stamp process, which is precisely why the structure holds weight with regulators and private banks. Cost is another consideration. A simple family foundation might cost between $6,000 to $10,000, while a more complex structure with control layers, multi-jurisdictional input, and banking integrations could exceed $15,000. Ongoing compliance, if handled by your provider, may range between $6,000 to $10,000 per year. Banking is a major focus for most families. The good news is that leading banks in Dubai and several in Switzerland, Singapore, and Luxembourg onboard DIFC foundations as clients. But this depends heavily on your documentation quality. You will need clear source of funds, a sensible rationale for the structure, and a transparent governance framework. A well-prepared file for the foundation typically includes a narrative memorandum, asset table, diagram of relationships, and professional references. Where DIFC foundations shine is the post-setup utility. You can hold shares in offshore companies, UAE free zone entities, real estate, intellectual property, and even high-value art or collectibles. Some families use them to issue loans or guarantees to related companies. Others use them to hold family operating companies indirectly through SPVs, adding a layer of separation between control and ownership. Foundation can also be layered into more complex structures. For example, as part of a private trust company arrangement or alongside a DIFC SPV holding interest in European operating subsidiaries. This type of layering is especially relevant when preparing for future IPO, family exit, or intergenerational split. It's a clean way to allocate voting control and economic benefit across branches of family without creating tension around direct shareholding. Some families pair a DIFC foundation with a Jersey or BVI company to manage legacy offshore structures while transitioning to a more compliant regime. Others structure old Liechtenstein or Mauritius holdings into the DIFC to improve auditability and unlock global banking access. These kinds of transitions require careful planning, but when done right, they elevate the family's international profile. From a succession standpoint, DIFC foundations provide long-term continuity. You can build in family constitutions, legacy letters, and rules for future generations. Governance can evolve over time. For example, a founder may chair the council during their lifetime, and after they step down or pass away, they can be succeeded or replaced by a guardian who oversees the council going forward. Decision making can be staged based on age, education, or milestone achievements of the beneficiaries. There is also the possibility of creating tiered beneficiary classes. For instance, immediate family as primary beneficiaries, with charities or educational funds as contingent recipients. Rules can specify conditions such as drug testing, graduation, or family involvement in the operating business. These type of clauses are increasingly used by founders who want to encourage responsibility without giving up control. One aspect worth noting is confidentiality. While the charter is public, the bylaws and names of the council members are not. Beneficiaries are not disclosed either. But this is not a secrecy structure. Banks and regulators have full visibility through proper disclosures. It's also worth mentioning substance. While not mandatory, adding substance like an office lease, local accounting firm, or part time administrator significantly improves your banking prospect and international credibility. For families who intend to use foundations actively, this is a worthwhile investment. All of this makes DIFC foundations especially attractive to cross border families, entrepreneurs with assets in multiple jurisdictions, and investors who want a clean base for global wealth structuring. That said, it is not for everyone. If you need to run a trading business, distribute profit regularly, or avoid reporting, this is not the structure for you. But if your goal is protection, governance, and long term clarity, it's hard to beat. If you would like to explore whether DIFC Foundation fits into your overall structure or want help designing one that aligns with your goals, you can request a free and customized asset protection plan by clicking the link in the description below. And if you're serious about creating solid asset protection structures in Dubai, you should really check out my next video right here.